We won't wait.
We won't be paralyzed by what we see.
We won't run. We'll conjure up the courage we need to create solutions for our homeland.
Our
Africa.
We are #DIY Africa.
Welcome to #DIY Africa, presented by the Civic Tech Innovation Forum and Gemfest.
It struck me that as you were talking about the innovations and innovators, the startups trying to bring their ideas to the city, you are also almost simultaneously talking about how the city has to innovate itself in order to be able to receive that. And I wondered whether you could say anything about in cities, and I don't know if you were saying that happened in the case of Kisumu or it didn't, but what do you think, what kind of postures or what is it in your observation that has to happen in the city space in order to be able to engage and to innovate on that side?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think the answer obviously is it's first of all it's very context contingent. Some cities already have great programs in place, and also has to be respond to the specific constraints each city faces. But I think one thing that we notice in the Kenyan context, especially in the Kenyan water sector context that I just mentioned, there were strong incentives for utilities in terms of their performance management systems to actually have targets for how many low-income residents the utility has reached vis-a-vis the year before, and that meant that utility staff had to think about how will I actually increase the amount of people in low-income areas that have access to water over the next year, and oftentimes that leads to thinking like, should I integrate or should I partner up with this innovator that has an interesting service offering in that regard? So I think that's one key point, and having performance standards related to reaching low-income customers is really key on a city level. But then beyond that, also having potential performance standards related to how many startup partnerships do you have as a public sector institutions, and also making sure that the policy allows for utility service providers or municipalities to form partnerships with innovators to improve their service offering, because oftentimes there's kind of like a chicken and egg where the public sector says, okay, the institution that we partner with has to have a track record of implementing solutions for at least 10 years, and then obviously that creates barriers to new innovators, and it also creates often barriers to local innovators, because oftentimes the firms that are out there providing these services already tend to be from sort of more established markets. So I think that's another key point. And then I think another thing we're quite excited about is like the proliferation of like South learnings. So like in a sense that engaging in a discourse and dialogue between municipalities, and sharing lessons. So the city of Accra, for instance, if they have a very innovative approach to waste management and partnering with innovators there, can Lagos or Abidjan learn from that? And I think this dialogue and fostering that more is really important too.
We'll do it ourselves. We are #DIY Africa.